Hey guys, it's Keith here, and in this one, we're gonna display some attack helicopter tactics offloading our crack troops here, some close air support from our Su-24 MPs, as well as multiple satisfying bombing runs from our Su-30SM. We're gonna be displaying the SUKHOI air dominance here today, and definitely gonna be playing with RU Mavericks as well as on the Kaliningrad map today. Now I wanted to showcase this game because with the new updates coming up, it's definitely going to make some drastic changes to the air gameplay here. And our deck is unfortunately going to have to undergo some kind of adjustment. So before that happens, I wanted to showcase just how powerful the Russian aircrafts can be when used effectively. So definitely a game to watch, one of the best games I've played, certainly fun to watch, I hope. So without further ado, I hope you sit back, relax and enjoy the show. And with the start of the match here, we're going to be bringing up the Su-57, an aircraft of our choice here today to challenge the skies over in Kaliningrad. And because this is a Sukhoi power video here, we're going to be seeing a lot of aircrafts here belonging to the Sukhoi family. But already our Su-57 is going to be facing off against triple enemy aircrafts here, some of the most powerful aircrafts belonging to the American side. Our Su-57 is going to try to dodge some of these missiles here, unfortunately taking both two direct shots towards the rear here, and it's going to quickly take down our Su-57. Our teammate did bring in a MiG-29K to try and help us out, while we have this Mi-24P Phantom here carrying double Diversanty team, sneakily trying to move to the left side here, but already getting spotted by the enemy F-15 Eagle. So we're gonna have to quickly offload or drop our infantry offs before the enemy comes back and takes out our helicopter, as the pink player also brings in his own F-22 Raptor to eliminate our Phantom here. We are going to be bringing in the second Su-57 to try and get some revenge kills for our aircrafts here. Su-57 charging very quickly into the enemy lines here, targeting directly into the enemy aircrafts. We did successfully take down the enemy F-15 Sea Eagle, unfortunately unable to take down the F-22, so we're going to enter into a dogfight with the F-22 Raptor. So what a fantastic scene, both 5th generation aircrafts here dogging around each other. As we enter into a one circle fight, our Su-57 is going to turn around and try to bait the enemy missiles, while also making sure that our teammate has a perfect angle. The MiG-29K coming in to save our bacon here. So definitely a cool sight to see. Lovely display of aircraft teamwork here as we successfully gain the upper hand on the air superiority fight for the time being. We do have, and you notice on the screen right now, I did bring in a couple of Su-23-2Ms. These are just the Su-23 attached onto the Euros here. The Su-23-2M is equipped with some Igla launchers here, so capable of bringing down attack helicopters or also transport helicopters, which is precisely what I hope to be doing by putting these anti-aircraft assets over on the right flank. All throughout the front, as you can see in the map right now, our teammate here moving all of their units towards the center very quickly, because we want to be able to get into a good position to cover some of the bridges here. The map is Kaliningrad, and if you're not familiar with the game, Kaliningrad is set or modeled around the actual Kaliningrad place, so definitely has a lot of rivers here, a lot of snaking rivers, as well as some of the highlights of this map would be the bridges that's going to be separating some of the territories here. The bridges in this game acts as a natural choke point for forces pushing into our objectives here, as well as us pushing into them. So we want to have units to be in good positions to be able to cover some of these choke points here. The pink player did bring out an AC-130 Spooky 2, a very fun aircraft to play with. It's going to be very powerful only if you have air superiority and sea protecting that aircraft. Otherwise, it's not going to be it's not going to do too much, and very quickly it's going to get shot down. As you can see, the enemy already has a foothold on our sector here, so our teammate is going to have to quickly move into position and try to dislodge the enemy, push them back to secure our side of the island. We did bring out a second Mi-24P Phantom here, and the Phantom is actually, I believe it's the fastest transport helicopter. Well, it is an attack helicopter capable of transporting infantry, and it is certainly the fastest available in the Russian side here, so we're going to be using that to quickly pick our Diversanty squads up and move them to the left side and make sure that they get into position to provide some recon. All throughout the front, you can see that the ping player has some positions over in Gamma here. The enemy has solid positions all throughout the front, and we are under heavy assault as our teammates struggle to control the territories. We did bring out a Su-30 SM, and this is a wonderful aircraft, extremely powerful bomber here. We're going to be using that to bomb one of these enemy SAM batteries that we just saw firing out. What a lovely sight to see. The Su-30 SM is going to be dropping off its bomb and going to be recalled back to the hangar to get resupplied and refunded for our points. This Phantom here manages to drop off one of the Diversanty squad you see early on. It's going to be taking cover in one of these high rises here, which is going to be providing us with a lot of recon here. We want to be keeping some eyes over on this sector just to make sure that the enemy does not catch us by surprise by deploying some of the forces here to outflank us. We're going to see how handy that's going to be, or how important that's going to be later on in the future. I did wanted to offload one of my Phantoms closer to our lines, but at the last moment I decided to take a gamble and try to push my Phantom closer, deeper towards the enemy back rear lines there, and hopefully that's going to be paying off for us, and we're going to see more about that in the second phase of the game. As right now this Diversanty is keeping eyes on these two enemy Black Hawk now, trying to flank around our positions and engaging our teammates' SAM batteries that's currently huddled up on this small elevated platform here. Our teammate already has a couple of these are Verba squads in position. The BTR also providing some fire support, but unfortunately our teammate failed to recognize or respect the enemy's attack helicopters, the enemy's Black Hawks there, and it's gonna end up losing one of the S300 batteries. So a very lovely trade for our enemies here, not so much for our teammate. Nevertheless, our Phantom here has successfully completed its mission at offloading the Diversanty deep behind enemy lines, and we're going to try to tell the Phantom to take to the low ground here and try to move them back, because I don't want to be alerting the enemy to the fact that I have some snipers behind their lines at the moment. And once again, about the map here, as you can see, most of our teammates here has already taken up position around the sectors belonging to us, but we are at the risk of losing the Juliet sector, which is supposed to be on our side of the front. So our teammate is going to have to bring up some units to try and recapture the position before we assault into the enemy's side of the field here. You can see that I don't actually have a heavy presence of units on the map right now, and that's because I'm deliberately trying to hold back my forces to decide where my units need to be deployed to influence the battle here. And I'm only doing this because the deck that I'm playing with, which is the RU Maverick here, is rather designed to be a mobile hit squad, able to deploy anywhere very quickly with the help of some of the Kurovas here, the helicopter transports, as well as providing very quick reaction close air support here with those Sukhoi airplanes that we've just seen a couple of. Right now you can see that I'm using my Mi-24P Phantom here to try and attack move into some of these high rises here, and we're not likely going to find anything or any enemy recon here, but it's always a good practice to have a helicopter to patrol a little bit your backlines, just to make sure that the enemy did not manage to successfully offload some of the snipers behind our lines here. I have this grad here, and I'm calling in this grad, and if you've seen some of my previous videos featuring this deck, this grad here is actually equipped with smoke launchers instead of its usual explosive or incendiary payload. I'm primarily using this grad here to provide my forces a smoke screen, where I would like to use the smoke to cover my helicopter's very aggressive assault into the enemy territory and offload some of these crack troopers that we're gonna see. The VDV formation is actually very well designed and very well suited for these kind of assaults. And as always, when you're playing with your deck and your division, and when you have the mind for some of the strategies here, it's always a cool thing to see how you can use your units in a way that they're kind of designed for, or maybe even surprise yourself or the enemy in the way you use some of these tactics here. We did bring out a tornado as well, and currently the tornado is causing a traffic jam on the side here, as our tornado is stopping to align its rocket launchers into some of these. And as you can see, it's already firing right now. We're going to be targeting the Charlie sector here, targeting specifically the orange players' units here. The tornado is actually equipped with some laser guided rockets, so you can see the enemy the teammate sniper team actually guided a couple of our rockets towards the AGS team that is currently having eyes on, but we are unable to really destroy anything of use right here. We did manage to damage some of the enemy artillery pieces at the back there. So we're going to be moving the tornado to reposition the tornado a little bit before telling it to target the wounded AGS team. Our Diversanty here remains to be a very useful asset on these high-rise here, keeping an eye on the enemy position, as this one deep inside the enemy territory is going to be providing us a lot of vision on some of the enemy helicopter reinforcements that we're going to see later on in this game. You can see how important it is to have recon, and when you have a good recon unit behind the enemy lines, it's definitely a crucial point. Enemy cruise missiles did manage to find and destroy and eliminate our Grad launches here, so my plan to assault into Charlie sector kind of be thwarted right now. So I wasn't sure how my Grad was spotted, and that's why I'm going to be using the Su-23 right now that I've just called in to patrol around some of these buildings here, just to see if the enemy does in fact have any recon in the area that may have provided our enemies with vision and information about our Grads being hiding in that tree line there. I think in hindsight, our Grads was indeed spotted by the enemy drone flying directly overhead. We failed to recognize that our Grad was actually spotted and moved it around. So this Su-23 is not going to be finding any actual targets here, but nevertheless it's always good to have some kind of unit here to patrol around these sectors here to make sure that the enemy does not actually have any recon, as always. Kaliningrad is a very huge map, and definitely a lot of games that I've played on this map has always been a tricky one, because a lot of times enemy forces, even our own forces, has managed to drop off some sneaky snipers and recon forces towards the enemy backlines here. But right now, over on the left side here, our neon green player holding the line, trying to assault into Gamma, but the Gamma point is currently held tight by both the red and the pink player here. Simultaneously, the peach player enemy side has a firm grasp on the Juliet sector. So both of our teammates here struggling a little bit to hold the center while also pushing out, and that's when I decided that I'm going to commit my forces towards the left flank here and try to help our teammates out. For the time being, you can see that the red player and the pink player has a lot of forces here and continuously putting pressure upon our teammates in the center. So our forces here, the plan here today would be to assault the left flank and divert some of the enemy's attention towards our own units, providing we're going to buy some time for our teammates to build up their forces and then stabilize the front. We did call in a couple of BTR-82s here. This one's going to be loaded with some of the VDV Dsh teams. Initially, again, these forces were supposed to assault into the Charlie sector, where the teal player is currently guarding the bridge over. But with our teammates here struggling a little bit on the left side, you can see I've already brought up triple Mi-24PNs here. These are the hides, and this has been very useful helicopters for us. A very fragile one, but nevertheless, think of them like glass cannons, right? So the Russian side attack helicopters is actually more of an infantry flying vehicle, so capable of carrying some of the troops here. In this case, we're gonna have triple. There's some of these best VDV squads available to us. These are the crack team of the Russian forces, and already we're going to be coming in from this direction here, trying to divert our enemy's attention away from the bridges here. Mi-24 is going to be finding the Type X RCV, destroying that completely. As you can see very quickly on, we're going to be telling our Mi-24 to take cover behind these buildings here, getting down to a very low altitude, which is going to save our helicopters from being targeted from the enemy anti-air manpads that's currently hiding in this tall buildings here. Dropping off the crack team, we're going to have the Spetsnaz GRU and the SSO push on forwards ahead to try to eliminate the enemy anti-air teams, while the Spetsnaz doing the same, finding a lucky shot into the enemy Avenger here, which is a serious threat against our helicopters, but the enemy makes a mistake at pushing the Avengers too close towards our infantry here. Likely, I think, the red player wasn't expecting us to have any infantry offloaded from these helicopters here, and that's why he's going to be paying for that mistake. With the Avenger gone, actually, the Mi-24 is going to be zooming around right now, finding a line of sight into these ranges here. But the enemy does have a Purun team. I think that's a Grom team at the back here, one of the Baltic manpad squad. As you can see how a single manpad team is going to be a very serious threat to all of our helicopters here, so we're going to have to pull them back. Now infantry is going to have to continue on without air support for the time being. Peach player continues to pour in more reinforcements into the Juliet sector, but with our distraction, with our engagement here over on the left flank, we're gonna start to draw the pink player and the red player's attention. Already you can see the pink player reacting to our push by bringing in an Osprey as well as a Killer Egg towards the left side of the flank here. So no longer focusing on the bridges here, assaulting into our teammates' position. So we are now tasked with the responsibility of keeping the units at bay here, making sure we punish the enemy player for bringing in these reinforcements, as the Spetsnaz GRU launches one of the Verba missiles and hits the supply dump offloaded by the Osprey here, and destroying the Osprey in the process. Unfortunately, our Phantom here, being brought up way too close and unable to escape in time, is going to be taken down by the enemy Grom teams. So once again, we're going to be losing out on the helicopter support, so we're going to have to move that away. Triple Malkas here, launching a close-range barrage into the enemy Cat Saber team. The Peach player now continuing its assault into our position here. We did manage to move the Favorit out of the way as the Peach player lands a very beautiful airstrike here, bombing those triple Malkas efficiently. But our teammates, SAM batteries on the back here, is going to be able to take down the enemy bomber plane. Spetsnaz here uncovering one of the Zalukas. Zaluka is a very dangerous recon unit belonging to the Baltic side. So our Spetsnaz is going to try to delay or slow down the enemy advance as long as possible. But here we go. In the back here, our Diversanty manages to spot the red players' attack helicopters coming into our position here. These helicopters taking a cheeky low ground here, going to be hiding behind these buildings, as our helicopters is not equipped for any anti-air engagement, so undoubtedly those enemy Vipers will be a serious threat. But with our Diversanty in station able to provide line of sight, our teammates OSAS as well as the Verba Igla teams is able to take down those Vipers very, very efficiently. And the enemy makes the mistake of pushing his helicopters way too close towards our lines. And those were actually very expensive. I believe this was like about 300 points or 320 points per helicopter belonging to the red player here. So in total, we've secured a massive 900 points kills just for that. With the enemy attack helicopter taken care of, we're a little bit more confident in pushing our helicopters once again, as our infantry here is going to be coming up against one of the enemy Abrams tanks. The SSO is definitely not equipped to handle that problem, so we're going to be pushing our helicopters, but the enemy does have a couple of reinforcements here at the back. Several manpad squad now launching their missiles into our position, so our helicopters in a bit of trouble here. We're going to have to utilize some of these buildings here as cover, as one of the Mi-24 does find a cheeky line of sight against the enemy Skelezini's Vilkas, destroying that unit completely. Red player still continues making mistake at pushing his helicopters way too close towards our teammates' anti-air assets here, but our previously mentioned BTR-82 finally making their way towards the side of the front. The helicopter did manage to damage one of the Abrams here, but we don't have actually have any units left other than the VDV Dsh. But the VDV Dsh excels at one thing and one thing only, which is to kill the enemy armor. We're going to be using the smoke here to cover a VDV Dsh approach into this building, and the VDV Dsh is going to be launching both of its RPG launcher very quickly, destroying that heavy Abrams tank for us. As our teammate strikes some of the wounded pink units belonging to the pink player here on the left side. What a fantastic display of teamwork, combined assaults, and very accurate bombing strike. With the enemy forces now dwindling and then heavily damaged, we're going to be pushing our VDV Dsh as well as the BTR-82 towards the Gamma objective right now. There's a Ranger squad at the back here, and our BTR-82 is damaged, and with the Rangers using some of the buildings here as line of sight blockers, we're gonna have to be careful with our vehicles here. VDV Dsh is now gonna be engaging with double Marine squad here, but our BTR-82 is gonna take some of these distance here, providing some auto-cannon fire against these Marine squads. Our teammates' attack helicopters also providing a lot of rocket fire directly into these Marine squads. So already you can see we are quickly turning the tide over onto our left flank here, and we were regaining the momentum and destroying the enemy efficiently as well. And that's how you want to use your vehicles as well. While this was all happening, our assault helicopters making the distraction, eliminating a lot of the enemy forces. Neon green players, heavy tanks are now pushing into the left flank here and definitely wiping off some of the pink players' remaining forces that was still hiding out in some of the buildings here. So a fantastic display of combined arms assault across the entire playbase here. Nevertheless, our VDV Dsh was heavily damaged here. We're gonna try to get the BTR-82 to ferry them to a supply, but unfortunately the teammates cluster did manage to take out our VDV Dsh that was already on board the BTR-82. The aforementioned Ranger squad belonging to the pink player now has taken up a high-rise position here, and our teammate, not paying attention with his OSA, is going to be driving the OSA directly in front of the Ranger squad, and our BTR-82 was not able to eliminate the Ranger in time. So a very expensive kill, expensive loss to our neon green player here. As you can see in the score here, somewhere in the middle of the phase 2 right now, our kill score has completely switched over to our side here with a massive 5,000 points lead against the enemy's very own kill score point. Now all we have to do now is to secure the Gamma position and then continue on our pressure towards the enemy lines here. We have a Kurova now coming on the way, bringing in crucial supplies for our BTR-82s. As our VDV Dsh as well as the teammates, dark green players here securing the Gamma position, we definitely have the upper hand right now on this side of the front. So I think what just happened was a crucial understanding of strategy. I think with what we essentially did was recognizing that our teammates is hard pressed in the center with the enemy forces pushing in from the left side, and our assault helicopter comes in from an angle to divert the enemy's attention, delay the enemy's assault into our teammates' position, which also provided or made time for our teammate to build up forces, and then we essentially pushed everyone out from this side of the front. So a very solid teamwork here. We have a couple of Mi-8s here, or Mi-8 MTV. These are the Zelenists here, which is also going to be loaded with a bunch of infantry. In this case, I think we have a couple of Desanikis as well as Pesnas GRU. Initially, I wanted to secure our side of the bridge here, but seeing that our green player here is pushing very aggressively into the enemy's next objective point with very little resistance, and we're going to be telling our units here to charge on forwards, and because we want to be supporting our teammates' assault into the next position here, which is the Foxtrot objective. Already you can see his Sprutes moving very close into the enemy Iris T, that's currently taking position around the supply dump here. I think that's a dip inside the supply dump, dip inside the construction points here, so preventing the Spruts from taking any direct line of sight shot into the IRIS-T. Nevertheless, you can see we're quickly moving most of our units here into the next phase of our assault here. A couple of boomerang carrying this Metis squad moving very far to the left side here is going to try to bypass the entire objectives completely and trying to get across the river over on the other side of the enemy's lines. Grad here coming in, and it's going to be launching a smoke barrage across the river here to try and cover this side of the front. I think my decision in doing this is so that any potential long-range ATGM on the enemy side is going to be covered as we offload some of the infantry and our units into position right now. You can see I have the K-17 boomerang, and this time I made sure that the K-17 is actually amphibious because we did have that mishap one time in a previous video here. I'm gonna put that up in the top right corner for you to check it out. Nevertheless, the MI8 Zelenivs have managed to offload the infantry right now. We're gonna have to push our infantry close to the enemy position here and trying to take up some of these positions inside these high rises here. BTR-82 topped up, and it's going to be bringing up the Diversanty squad as the VDV Dsh is going to be taking cover as well. An enemy CV-90 here, and this is the Mark III variant, so it's not equipped with any APS. It's gonna take damage from our BTR-82 launching one of its Cornet missiles towards the CV-90 here. The second BTR-82 is gonna be offloading the Diversanty squad, as both my units as well as the teammates Desaniki is now trying to engage these enemy vehicles from close range. The BTR-80 did manage to find a cheeky side shot into these enemy Abrams here, so a very heavy unit here being destroyed very efficiently by our forces, as our K-17 boomerang, one of it does find an angle and line of sight into the enemy CV-90s. It's going to be engaging that. But you can see the enemy already has a couple of GMG, HMG teams, as well as some a Manpat squad, so our units here is going to have to battle it out. Thankfully, we do have a couple of BTRs as well as the Zu-23. The Zu-23, in its alternative role as a air defense unit, it's because of the massive weapons on top of its Euro here, it's also going to be highly effective against infantry as well. So very efficiently, we have eliminated a lot of the enemy's counter-attack forces here and quickly just securing the front line. We did bring out a couple of Su-30SM here for close air support, and here we go, we're going to be bringing one of them, queuing one of the Su-30SM in to drop its bomb directly onto the CV-90. Dropping its bomb and guided by the laser as well, so the Su-30SM lands its bomb directly on target. But unfortunately, we failed to micro a little bit on the Su-30SM, and the Su-30SM is going to be taken down by the enemy air defense. And a very cool scene here with new Mi-24PNs offloading some of the units here. Oh, but unfortunately we missed that. Yeah, here we go. As the Grad fires its smoke launchers, the Mi-24 offloads more reinforcements towards this line, and we're definitely pouring in more reinforcements into the Foxtrot objectives here. Our blocking detachment, these will be the K-17 boomerangs with the Metis on board. It's now moving into position behind the enemy lines. We want to be offloading them into the buildings here to try and catch enemy reinforcements off guard, as we struggle right now to try and move some of our wounded units back to supply dump and get them topped up as well. Our blocking detachment, the the Metis squad now, is going to be engaging with the enemy Vilkas. And this Vilkas is equipped with an APS, so definitely it's not going to be taken down so easily. An enemy ATGM is coming from this high rise here, so even if we don't see the enemy ATGM does see us. With the second Su-30SM loitering right now, seeing our detachment here unable to hold their own, we're going to be queuing up the Su-30SM to bomb this high rise as well as the enemy Galazinis Vilkas squads. We successfully take down both of the enemy forces here in these buildings, and this time we're going to be microing a little bit better and getting our Su-30SM away from the front. Kurova bringing in heavy supply dump here to make sure that we topped up our units, our helicopters, and make sure we get them back into the fight as well. A lot of things are happening right now as the enemy RCV is now currently engaging the enemy, our teammates' tank here, but thankfully we do have a cornet in station and it's going to be taking that out completely. So that was a very hectic fight, a lot of things that happened, but I want to draw your attention to the mini-map right now and take a look at our spawn points here. Throughout this entire fight, the orange player is actually pushed across onto our river here and is currently assaulting our reinforcing points. So kudos to our teal and the neon green player for recognizing that threat and holding back the orange wave right now, as we are busy right now with our forces on the left side trying to hold back the enemy's assault. But with 30 seconds left in phase 2, we are at a fantastic lead right now. All we have to do is to secure our positions, get our units back into health, as our Korova now bringing more supplies, I think, yeah, bringing more supplies to the front, so that our infantry on this line here is going to be able to get some supplies in. Earlier, I did manage to, as you can see, there's a purple supply dump here, and our tornado is going to be launching its rocket into the purple supply dump, where the enemy has triple thunder, IronThunders, sorry, yeah, the triple IronThunders here effectively being destroyed at the beginning of phase 3. So what a lovely start to the third phase. I think a tornado is an expensive investment, but when you use them correctly, as well as particularly because they have the laser guided munitions here, and combined with any lasers, you're gonna have a very fun time using the tornado. Not only is it a powerful asset to have when used effectively, it's going to be a very efficient unit to have as well. Su-57 is going to be brought in and destroys the enemy global hawk here. I want to be eliminating the enemy recon drones as much as I can so that the enemy does not have any line of sight on our units here. Our Igla teams happily shooting their missiles away at the enemy helicopter here. We did manage to take down the purple player's Apache Guardian, as the pink player's DEP now provides a some minigun fire support into our positions here, but we do still have the Su-23 2M here able to take down the enemy DEP. But once again, we're coming under threat from the triple enemy Vipers here, and these are some very serious helicopters coming our way here. So our Su-23 is going to have some work to do as the enemy pushes in very aggressively, missing one of his Hellfire shot towards our Su-23. Our Su-23 is going to keep firing into these helicopters here. We're going to be committing our Mi-24 in a joust against these Vipers here, but thankful for our Su-23 on the side, able to take down all 3 enemy helicopters very efficiently, albeit we did end up losing one of the Mi-24s. So a happy trade for us, as if the enemy manages to push his helicopters behind our lines, a lot of our assets here, as well as the assets belonging to our teammates here, would have been under threat. Su-23 running out of missiles right now is going to try to hide away, but the enemy DEP comes in at a clutch moment here. But once again, the enemy fails to respect our forces here. We do have a Spetsnaz GRU able to launch a single verbal missile, striking down the enemy helicopters, with some of our infantry using their machine guns, their AK-47s. I'm not sure if they're still using AK-47s, but able to shoot down another expensive enemy helicopter. Our green player here just cleaning up some of the remainder orange players units here, as our Diversanty now spots multiple targets here. The striker SPH is just out in the open, just waiting for our tornado to get back up, reload their rockets, and able to strike that down. But here we go, we do see a couple, 4 enemy heavy tanks now moving into our side of the line here. We're going to be calling in Su-54MP right now to provide some support. We're going to be pushing out one of the Mi-24, and these are heavy tanks that none of our units here is actually well equipped to handle or destroying any of this. But the Su-24 is equipped with 2 AGM missiles here, as well as a couple of seed missiles here, able to provide some self-defense against seed missiles. But we're going to see how to use the Su-24MP effectively. We're going to be queuing up the Su-24 into a straight line here, trying to aim into these double pink leopards here. Mi-24 is going to be called in to try and guide or draw the enemy's attention, presenting their making them present their side armor, as our Su-24MP lands amazing shots directly into the sides of these leopards here, and these leopards are actually very expensive leopards here. Su-24MP definitely proving its value in gold. Well, extremely valuable aircraft, able to really take care of the enemy heavy tanks with relative ease. But here we go, a lot of enemy aircraft have been called in as the Albatross gets struck down. The enemy AC-130 gets hit by our Verba teams on the ground here, and it's just a last-ditch effort attempt at trying to dislodge our forces. I think throughout this game, Pink player initially had made some pretty good moves, but I think the exhaustion of constantly being having your units destroyed has gotten to him, so all sense of tactical acumen here is just out the window, and he's really just throwing everything he can and see what lands and what sticks. But the purple player now has a lot of units pushing out into our lines here, as well as a couple of shore reds and these heavy Abrams Sep V2 trophy as well. And this is when I decided, okay, a tornado strike guided by these lasers here would be the perfect solution, as the first strike lands directly on target with the laser guiding it, but we temporarily lose the laser's line of sight. This is kind of embarrassing to display, as we ended up missing most of our shots here with our rockets curving everywhere but on the target itself. So I think it was definitely a missed opportunity, definitely a lesson to be learned here, and make sure that you well, pre-aim your artillery when you expect the enemy come in, and then guide your rockets with only one single lasers. Having two lasers is just going to be confusing the targeting system of those rockets there, so definitely a lesson learned not to do that. With our tornado failing to destroy the enemy forces here, we did have the unintended effect of holding the purple player back, so you can see the purple player is not actually pushing his units across. The pink player does have a single CV-90 out on the field right now into our position, so we're gonna have to be careful with that. Double enemy Osprey now taking the flanking position here is going to be engaged by our Spetsnaz GRU as well as the BTR-82. Mi-24PN, our hovering on station, is going to be trying to engage the enemy CV-90, but a poor tornado is going to be intercepted by the enemy Osprey before our Mi-24 is able to take it out. I did make the mistake of leaving my Mi-24 too close to the enemy IFV here, so the enemy CV-90 is going to be destroying my Mi-24. So very quickly, our forces on the left flank here is also destroyed because we don't have any supporting assets left. The enemy's constant assault into our position has finally managed to dislodge us from this side of the front, and so we're gonna have to fall back and focus on the defense in Gamma objective right now. As the enemy's tank is now threatening to capture our Gamma position, we're going to be loading the Spetsnaz GRU back to the BTR-82 to try and provide some support to our green player here holding the Gamma objective. Another Su-30SM has been called in, and this time we're targeting the enemy's units all bunched up in this building here. We have a couple of Zalukhais, some Javelin squad, as well as a Manpad team. These are the Groms here. So we're going to be targeting that position and destroying those units very efficiently. You can see how powerful the enemy, the Su-30SM can be with its bomb. Definitely a fun time using the Su-30SM. As our BTR-82 comes into position, destroys one of the enemy Mapat vehicles. Spetsnaz GRU is going to be taking up position, trying to engage the tank. The BTR-82 does find line of sight against the enemy, the enemy Unimog Mistrals here. Launches 2 Cornet missiles, destroying both of the enemy Mistrals with relative ease. Red player continues to do some suicide helicopter charges into our positions, and our teammate in green here, which is also using the VDV deck pretty heavily here, is going to be intercepting those attack helicopters, those Black Hawks here, and quickly striking them down. You can see our scores right now is immensely in our favor, with the enemy having no chance at all in keeping up with our scores. So more than likely, all we have to do right now is to hold on to the positions that we already have and prevent the enemy from rolling up our flank here. We currently only have a single Spetsnaz GRU on station, supported by our teammate in the dark green. All throughout the front, our teammate holding their sectors very strong right now, as the enemy makes a desperate attempt into pushing into our lines and trying to secure some objectives and points for themselves. CV-90s with the Igla-s Vilkas belonging to the pink player now pushing in over the bridges here is going to be intercepted by the Cornet as well as our own very own Spetsnaz GRU. Our helicopter reinforcements now coming into position is gonna try to offload the infantry to protect the Gamma sector, but the enemy airdrops a bunch of paratroopers here, a lot of very powerful infantry, a couple of rangers, Jägeris, even a Green Beret and a KNT squad, even a Spartan transport here. So our helicopters is gonna have to offload their forces here and have the infantry push out to engage the enemy forces as well. One of the Korova is actually carrying double Zu-23 2M here, and the Zu-23 is going to be providing a lot of fire support against these infantry. Infantry now moving into a close fight, close quarters combat here, and we do have another Su-30SM on call trying to bomb the Special Forces team as well as the Spartan behind it. Zu-23 is going to be pushed up to try and engage the enemy covering inside these buildings here. We do have the teammates helicopters providing some long-range missile support, and I believe these are the Lumu missiles, but here we go. Boom! Another fantastic bombing run by the Su-30SM, and very quickly the pink player has effectively lost the entire assault force belonging to him. A Silent Hawk is now trying to sneakily move its way into offloading some form of a infantry, but he's gonna make the mistake of popping up too high, and it's gonna be engaged by our Igla team, launching a single missile and landing it directly on target, destroying the helicopter as well as everybody on board. So what a fantastic sight to see. Our units now is gonna have to move into different positions now, just in case we get targeted by enemy bombs ourselves. You can see how effective the VDV formation can be when you use them the way they're designed for. Using these helicopters is gonna help us move our units very quickly towards where they need to be, while we are lacking in some heavy tanks and some long-range support. We do make it up for having very mobile, very powerful helicopters, very strong infantry units as well, providing us a lot of these mobilities, and of course the title of this video here, the SUKHOI line of aircrafts, providing us with a lot of close air support today. So we did manage to see the Su-30SM providing a lot of bombing runs. Su-24MPs has been exceptional at eliminating some of the enemy Leopards here. The Su-57 engaging a lot of the enemy aircrafts as well as helicopters here, as the red player did manage to breach our lines here and is currently harassing our supporting assets in the back here. We're going to be queuing up one of the Su-57 and quickly eliminating this dangerous threat for our teammate right now. The updates that's coming up next week on Tuesday is likely going to have an impact on this division here, this deck here. So I wanted to show you this one today because I think VDV is definitely a very fun division to play with, but likely we're going to be relying a lot on our aircrafts here today, and with the updates now coming in, which is said to have a very drastic impact on aircrafts today. So I'm not sure if this deck here is going to be as potent as it can be anymore. Nevertheless, I think we're still gonna have a place for this deck, and definitely we're just gonna have to adapt to the new updates and find new ways to utilize these the full potential of this deck. Our forces now getting topped up, and right now we're just solidifying our positions all across the front as the enemy, even though the enemy is trying to secure more zones here, they're definitely never going to be catching up to our kill scores here. With 57 left, 54 seconds left on the clock, we're gonna be we're gonna be looking for a very solid win for our team here. Right now, we're just going to be queuing up a couple of Su-24 MPs just to see if we can get any more scores in our favor here. The Su-24 MPs are going to be coming in, launching their seed missiles, effectively destroying, I believe these are the orange players, NASAMs, that's providing some of these anti-air support here. Su-24 MPs here, both of them destroying the NASAMs, definitely going to help us with our scores. But we're still going to keep them lingering around because we do have the AGM on top attached on the Su-24s, and one of the Su-24s is going to be coming in and launches an AGM towards the enemy vehicle cluster, destroying it. And finally, GG. What a fantastic fight for us. We did end up with an 11,650 kills, 5,375 deaths, with a fantastic ratio of 2.17. Definitely an homage to the VDV forces here. Hopeful to see that this deck still has a place after the new updates. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this one. Definitely a fun game for me to play. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.